Good afternoon, and welcome to Monday Mug Mentions, Week 11. This is a segment where, over the course of a cup of coffee, I talk about a few things in the tabletop industry that interest me. And this week, I'm drinking a very delicious cup of coffee. I hope you're all doing very well. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello, Richard. Thank you for joining. Good to see you. All right, so let's go ahead and put the kind of coffee up that I'm drinking. Hello, Randy. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. That I'm drinking this week. This week's coffee is from Willoughby's in Connecticut again, and this is the second of two coffees that were gifted to me by my good friends Matt Fantastic and Alex Cutler from Prettiest Princess Games. They're a design team / agency team / they do all sorts of cool stuff in the tabletop industry. Big fan of both of them, and I'm very, very grateful that they dropped some Willoughby's Peru coffee on me. This is a tasty, tasty cup of it's like a spicier blend than I'm used to. Hello, Daniel. Hello, John. Thank you for joining. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for joining this afternoon. So this week, I've got a few things to chat about. I did want to do a quick mail call. I also wanted to show off. I've got my... let's see here. My Board Game Design Lab shirt on. You'll see here. You can see on the sleeve there. Board Game Design Lab. Board Game Design Lab has a competition that just finished with submissions that I'm actually very honored to be a judge in. I also this year was a judge in Boston Fig and CT Fig, and I really am humbled to have been asked to judge all of these different competitions this year. It's been a lot of fun to see all the different prototypes and see the different things coming out. So, hello, Brad. Thank you for joining. Clinton, thank you for joining. Good to see you this afternoon. So, let's get right into it. I'll do a quick mail call here. This, again, is Willoughby's Coffee, the Peru. It just says Peru on the bag. It's very, very good. I'm drinking it out of my Ninja Turtles mug, because Matt and Alex, my friends that gifted me this coffee, are totally awesome. So thank you guys for being here again. Daniel, good morning. Again, let's get right into it. Let me grab some mail stuff so you guys can see what came in this week, and I will go ahead and take the coffee down. Oh my goodness, it's so much stuff. It's really heavy this week. All right. So I forgot to mention last week, as a matter of fact, that my copy of Pigment from my good friend Michael Epstein came in. This was a Kickstarter that I backed not very long ago. He shipped very, very quickly. Come on, Light, work with me. There we go, Pigment. This is a very, very cool little game about mixing paints, from what I remember. You'll see the shrink still on it. This needs to be opened and played soon. So I'm very, very happy to have gotten that. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for shipping that to me. This is actually one of the games we're going to be talking about today, and I just got it. It's Castles of Burgundy, the dice game. I've been pining after it for a while. I'd wanted it for a while. I finally found it. It's been reprinted, so if you're looking for it, it's a relatively reasonable price. I think just over $10 or something. This is a very fun game. I really, really enjoy it. We'll talk about this a little bit more in just a few minutes here. Okay, so also played this a lot. If you follow my Instagram feed or any of that stuff, you saw me playing this with my son. Drop It. This was super, super fun to play this weekend at the hospital with my son. Those of you who don't know, we just had a baby this weekend, and I will give you one picture in a little bit here. On top of just being a fun game where you can drop stuff and put things and do a little strategy game, my 4-year-old with a little coaching was able to comprehend how to play Drop It. You're dropping shapes. You don't want two like colors or two like shapes to touch each other, or else you don't get points. But beyond that, you get points based on these different lines that are on the grid here. You'll see there's different lines and different things that are you can or cannot have within those lines. So it's a very, very fun way to play. I really, really like this game. It was a blast. Also, this is a birthday present, but it just showed up from Andrew, my developer partner. But he had picked me up a copy of Stuffed Fables from a place called Half Price Books in Texas that I don't get to go to anymore, but I love. But I got my copy of Stuffed Fables, and I'm really looking forward to playing this at some point with my family. This is a really, really cool looking story-driven game with a board and miniatures and all sorts of things I love. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. Let's see. And one last piece of mail. Jeez, it was a heavy mail week. Okay, last piece of mail. I bid in on the hype train of people talking about this game. 4 Against Darkness. This is just a pen and paper solo dungeon crawling deal. It's like a dungeon delving experience. Pretty much your sort of quick solo D&D style game. Here's the back. It's, you can actually buy the PDF for like $8. I just wanted the nice hardback cover to be able to put it on my bookshelf and show it off and stuff. So this looks really cool. I'm looking forward to getting into it. I want to actually play it this week. But I was able to play 3 new games this week, even while we had a baby. So it worked out well. Hello, Larry. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. So let's get right into the games I want to talk about. So one of them is Castles of Burgundy, the dice game, and I'll get into that after I talk about this one. And this one is Portal by Valve. Portal, there's Portal 2. If you're not aware of Portal, it's the reason this correlates to Castles of Burgundy. Bear with me. I know that's sort of probably a weird correlation, right? But is that Portal is actually a spin-off of Half-Life. It is just a cute mod of Half-Life and using that engine to a certain extent. It's arguable that it's not just a spin-off, but what Portal is you've got a portal gun that can shoot ostensibly a hole in a wall that would be blue and another one that would be orange, and you can walk through the blue and come out of the orange. That's the very basic premise of the game, which is pretty simple. It's one mechanism. You're going in through one portal, coming out through the other. Very, very well done. But again, the whole basis of it is spun off of the idea of Half-Life, which is a very popular game that sort of has a cult following, if you will. And again, this is a video game. I'm not really talking about the mechanism so much as the idea, and there is no cake. Gil just said there's cake at their end. There is no cake. So that's, the board game Portal I have not played yet. I need to play that very soon. I could see some amazing things happening in that game. I could really be interested in it. Thank you, Mom. I do look good for a little sleep. I put makeup on to do this. No, I'm kidding. Hi, Courtney. Hello from the other room. She's taking care of baby in there. And I will put you guys a picture up of baby in towards the end. The cake is a lie. Leon knows what's up. The cake is a lie, Leon. Gil is wrong. There is no cake. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for the congratulations. I really appreciate it. The reason that this sort of Portal spin-off idea works so well is a mixture of narrative and the mechanism. The mechanism is essentially, of course, just going through one wall, coming out of the other. But the narrative is that you're trying to sort of get out of this place, and you don't really know what it is, and you're trying to figure all of this out. You're being driven by this computer AI who's got a very witty voice in the first one. In the second one, it's 2 computer voices, and they have banter. It's fantastic. So I really, really enjoy how well this spinoff is done. It's definitely put a ton of time and thought and effort into taking what was the Half-Life pretty much just engine and turning it into a whole new experience with a whole new narrative, an entire sort of spawn of these new things that came out, like the turrets and stuff. There was cake on both when I finished. The cake is a lie, or is it? Gil says the cake is a lie. Gil, the cake is a lie. The cake is a lie. All right. So, and if you guys don't understand what that silly reference is, the cake is a lie. It's part of playing Portal. You'll learn very quickly that you're being told there's going to be cake at the end of this horrible situation that you're going through, sort of trying to figure your way out of all these turrets and different issues. But it's a very interesting way to spin the Half-Life experience, which was a much different game. I really think Portal is probably one of the better spins on a video game that has maybe surpassed potentially at least the merchandising opportunities. I think the Portal merchandising things with like the portal gun and the turrets and stuff definitely surpassed Half-Life by this point. I would have to assume. I haven't done any research on this, but I have to assume it has. I haven't seen people wearing the Half-Life crowbar jackets or things with like the Gordon Freeman stuff on them anymore, but I definitely see a bunch of Portal cosplay and a bunch of Portal type stuff around. So I think that's like, it's sort of this spin-off that surpassed. And for me, the way that correlates to the game I was showing you guys earlier, which I'm going to bring up now, which is Ravensburger's Castles of Burgundy, the dice game by Feld. It's Stefan Feld, but I love on the front of this box, you'll see they put Stuffveld. So if you look at the top there, it says Stuffveld and Churchswant. I think it's Toussaint. I think I pronounced it correctly. So, hello Corey, hello Ian, hello Sarah, hello John, hello Michael. Thank you all for joining. Good of you to be here. This coffee is freaking delicious. Thank you again, Alex and Matt. So, Castles of Burgundy's dice game is a really good implementation of a write and roll, of a Stefan Feld game that's a pretty, it's in a lot of people's top 10. Castles of Burgundy itself is probably one of the long-term sort of games that people love and they really think is just a great game. I've only played it a handful of times. I like it. I don't know if I love it the same way that I do maybe some other Felds that I've played. Even La Isla, I think, is a really, really good one that I enjoy compared to... they're just different games, of course. But I love Castles of Burgundy, the write and roll game. This is great. This is super. I mean, all you're doing is you're rolling and filling out your different castles, and you only have a few powers that you can do to manipulate, but it's just so well done, and it's such a good callback to the game while being a fresh take on it that I really, really enjoy it. So all you're doing in the game is you're rolling a few dice, and then you're filling out on your little... sort of sheet here what you roll. I could teach this game to probably anybody in about 5 minutes, but as you roll, you fill your sheet up. This light is so bright it's going to make it hard to show off, but you fill your sheet up with all your different numbers that you roll as you roll, and you have a few powers. As you complete cities, you get more powers based on what you've completed because you've gotten like a monk or something like that. And there's 4 different types of map in the game, which is super. I mean, there's 4 different types of map. You'll see it comes with this nice big chunky thick, these are all fresh maps with double-sided, so there's a ton of replay value in this box, which I think was about $10 or so. It is a great game. This is my favorite way to play Castles of Burgundy, and it's the dice game. It's the smallest box one. I played the card game. I don't really enjoy it that much, but I love this dice game. I was really down on write and rolls after playing, sort of rolling myself out of Rolling Japan and Rolling America. I played the two of them a whole bunch. This has gotten me thinking about write and roll on a different level. Yeah. So Ian says I really need to play the regular game. Maybe not this version though. I think you definitely need to play the regular game if you haven't. It's in so many people's top 10 that I agree that you need to check it out. It's got to be one of those games that you just have in your arsenal as knowing how it works. I don't really dislike it. I like it. I just don't love it. I don't always want to play it. I need to play it again soon to make sure that I fully understand what I'm saying about Castles of Burgundy. It's been a year and a half or 2 since I've played it, to be honest. Carol Ann says, sounds like Yahtzee with a different outcome. It is very similar to Yahtzee. So Yahtzee is the original write and roll, or roll and write. Every game that's a roll and write is a variation on Yahtzee to a certain extent. So that's and Yahtzee's fun. It's not, I played Quicks with some friends the other day at Tabletop Day for, a while. It's a fun game. Quicks is just a new variation on Yahtzee. It's a Yahtzee bingo, somebody said, and that's a perfect way to put Quicks. So Gil says, I like the dice roll with the use of pencil and paper. No Siesta, do a good job with it as well. I'd like to play No Siesta. I haven't gotten my hands on that, but that one does seem like a fun one. My mom says, I love Yahtzee. I do too. It's a great game. Mike says, agreed, the card game is not great. The dice game is amazing and has the best and easiest setup ever. And Rob asks, is that a Turtles mug? Yes, sir. That is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mug. On one side is their shell and logo. And if I switch hands, you'll see we have all 4 turtles on the other side. This is one of my favorite mugs, and I think it was $6. It's so... we've been toying with for a while the idea of doing a stir fry roll and write or write and roll. I've really wanted to explore this idea of a write and roll where you have to write something first, then roll the dice. I don't know if this is super plausible. I haven't really started to test it yet. I've just been sort of theory crafting it up here, so I can't say that I've been working on that. I've just been thinking about it. How do you do a write and then roll? Are there any games out there that you guys that know that are a write and roll? Not a roll and write, not a roll something and then write them down. However, a write something and then roll the dice and then do a thing. That's I'm trying to get to the next point. Like maybe you write down what you're trying to accomplish, roll the dice. If it doesn't happen, you put an X through it, right? A lot of these write and rolls or roll and writes use X's to mark out things that have happened. So I've really started to think that might be the way to go with it. Brad says, I don't own any roll and write games. Fleet will be my first. I do like Burgundy. Maybe I'll check out the dice version. I did just do Fleet as well. I did just back that. That looks amazing. The dice game. I did the dice game. I don't own Fleet. I've never played Fleet, but the dice game looked great to me. It looked like my type of Euro, so I did back that one as well. Excuse me. So let's get into the media this week. Corey says could do a pool game like that, calling pockets or combos and use those dice. Corey, that's a really good idea. That's a really good idea, and if you don't develop that, I may. I like that a lot. So you've got to, I love billiards. Pool, he means pool/billiards/ playing like 9-ball. I can think of like 9-ball being the perfect thing, right? So you've got to hit the 1-ball, you've got to hit the 2-ball, you've got to hit them in order, and then you've got to call your pockets. That could be a really good way to do a write and roll. And then if you miss X number of shots, you're done, right? You lose the game. You got to sink the 9-ball to win. Hey, that's Corey. I'm up for a co-design on something like that. That is a clever idea. I really like that idea. That's a really good idea. Like that's not a no joke. I could see people playing like, oh wow, I'm playing billiards, with the little, billiard card thing with the, the shots on there. Oh yeah, that's great. That's a great idea. Why don't you shoot me a message and let's talk about that in the near future? I like that. That's a super idea. All right. Yeah, billiards. I love billiards. Billiards and golf are two of my favorite games. And every golf game I've ever gotten that's a board game, not a huge fan. It doesn't give me the feeling of what I'm doing. There's one that's the Mars Open game where you're flicking into the boxes. That looks fun. I didn't get on board with it just because I don't know how often I would pull that out and have the space to flick it around and all that stuff. Chalk tokens to adjust reroll dice. Yeah, chalk your. Yep. I like it, Brad. I like it. That's a really good idea. So a baseball game, Gil, I understand that, but there are a lot of baseball games out there, more than enough currently, and baseball is not something I follow or am a huge fan of. So I will leave that to my baseball fan friends like Daryl Andrews. I know he's a huge ball fan. J.R. Honeycutt, huge baseball fan. So I've got friends that are into baseball, and that would be their avenue. I played baseball up until I was in like high school, and then I kind of just lost touch with it. So, all right. So let's go into the media that I want to talk about this week, and this is a very cool. Another Connecticut. We're like hitting up Connecticut this week. So Matt and Alex. Hello Jennifer. Hello Alex. Good to see y'all this afternoon. Matt and Alex, who gifted me this wonderful, delicious coffee I'm drinking. Are from Connecticut, New Haven area. And then in a different part of Connecticut is this next person, and that's Jen Bartlett, the board game librarian. If you guys don't know Jen, she runs an awesome Instagram that she is constantly posting cool videos and photos of board games and components and all sorts of cool stuff. She has over 2,000 followers on her Instagram feed because she's always posting cool stuff about board games. And so you definitely, if you don't follow her, you should definitely go follow Jen on Instagram. She's also does the board game Breakfast with the Dice Tower. So she's with my friend Gil, who's here as well. Hello again, Gil. Hello, Alex. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you guys so much for joining. So, yeah, we've got this awesome Instagram feed. And then on top of all of that, Jen also is doing this cool thing. She's got this initiative rolling to get board games put into libraries, like public libraries. So, this is something we're doing is I'm allocating essentially a couple cases of Record once we get it all finished up and shipped, where we're going to have some of those go out to some public libraries. Some of the ones I maybe grew up using and some of the ones that Jen's helping get their libraries curated and put some stuff together. We'll send Stir Fry out as well. So, we're going to get some games out to these libraries because, listen, if we can get more people into the hobby through community efforts like, putting board games into libraries that you can check out or that you can at least go into the library and play, then I think that's like super, right? Like I think that's a really, really good thing that we can do to evangelize our hobby, to show people that we are not just what old board games are generally thought of. If you don't know what hobby games are, it's a really cool way to maybe have somebody go, oh, wow, this has a lot of thought and strategy. My kids will be firing different synapses in their brain if we play games like this. I should start getting into this sort of thing with my kids. The kind of person who's going to a public library to read and to use games and things like that is generally pretty thoughtful. You're gonna find people who might really, really benefit this hobby by reaching out through this avenue. So I'm really, really proud of Jen for doing that. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to focus in and make sure everybody gives her lots of support on her Instagram feed and her Board Game Breakfast Dice Tower Network segments. But especially this if you are a publisher friend of mine, by all means make sure that we can do whatever we can to get these things into your local libraries, into no matter where you are, because I love that idea of having a curated library for a whole bunch of folks who just want to check out stuff, books, games, videos. Libraries have become so much more than what when I was a kid. It was just a bunch of books, and it wasn't necessarily always the best stuff. It was maybe it was a weird. And now it's so high tech. You can use computers. You can do whatever you want. I mean, I remember I had to learn how to do those slides where you'd go through those like large film deals to find stuff on the where stuff was. So it was libraries were very antiquated when I was growing up at the very early age, and they became, beyond and bounds nicer by the time that now we go to a library up here. There's a ton of nice stuff to do. There's board games to check out. All that kind of stuff is really, really nice. I like it. So catch up on comments here real quick. See, Gil says Space Invaders Dice was a letdown for me. I didn't get to play it. I would like to check it out. Corey says Fire in the Library just did that as part of an optional pledge on the Kickstarter. Is that something so to get a game to the library? I like that. That's great. Gil says difference is she's way smarter than me. And Brad says Fire in the Library sounds like the best and worst game to stock at a library. I agree, Brad. That seems like yeah. Hi, Stephanie. Good to see you. Stephanie's one of the people I got to play Quicks with at Tabletop Day, and it was a blast. Did you enjoy it, Stephanie? I enjoyed Quicks quite a bit. I think that's one of my favorite sort of roll and write variations on the idea of Yahtzee. So let's see. Gil says I really like to push your luck with mitigation from Fire in the Library. I do too. I was happy to back that one. Tony Miller, the designer of that game, is a really, really good dude who has for a long, long time talked about games and has sort of a good following of folks that he's curated by talking about games, and I think that's always good. I like community members like that. Micro Fischel, Brad says I may be like kind of behind on some of the comments at this point, so you buy one, they donated one. Okay, cool, Gil. That's cool. I think that would be a great way. Let's see here. Needed to learn the Dewey Decimal thing. Yep, yeah, same thing here. Exactly, Stephanie. And Rob says, man, I'd kill to get a set of card catalog drawers to store game cards. That's actually a good idea, although I don't, they do tend to get ripped up over time. That would be a cool thing to do. So, again, if you guys are on Instagram, go over. It's boardgame.librarian, I believe is her Instagram, boardgame.librarian. Give her a follow, say hello, say Monday Mug Mention sent me. We are a big fan. And I am actually going to this summer at some point Jen's library to show off Record, so that's going to be a fun thing there, and that's to help sort of expand this growing effort to get board games into public libraries. So thank you guys very much for anything you do to help support that as well. So marketing. All right, so this weekend we got to spend some time at the hospital because we had a baby. I will post a picture of the baby after I talk about the marketing thing real quick. So the marketing thing is just interesting. We were in the hospital, and we're sitting there, and I see 3 or 4 nurses come in, and it's long, so I'm making sure I'm not sleep deprived, and it's been long nights, and Courtney, she kicked butt. She was staying with the baby. I had to bring Harrison home, and so we got to stay and all that sort of stuff. So I keep seeing these nurses come in with scrubs that I think I see a little logo that says Grey's Anatomy. I'm like, isn't that the television show? The super popular doctor-y television show? Isn't that what that is? And so at one point I think about the third or fourth set of these scrubs that came in with the little thing. I asked one of the nurses. I said, "Excuse me, do your scrubs say Grey's Anatomy?" And she said, "Yeah, they all do. It's if you go into any medical supply store, there's one whole wall that's going to be Grey's Anatomy." And I said, "Is that the show? It looks like it's the logo from the show." And they said, "Yeah, it's the show. It's absolutely the show. It's they branded scrubs and they have their name on scrubs that they sell, and then real world nurses use those scrubs." And they're apparently some of the nicer and more comfortable ones from what I was told. So it was kind of an interesting thing to see. Is like, wait a minute, this television show has branded their own scrubs based on being a television show about, all I know is it's a medical show. I really have never watched Grey's Anatomy. I know it's very popular. I don't watch a lot of network television, so you'll have to forgive me. Real quick. So Rob says, "Baby, if anyone's going to be in Massachusetts next week, the Brimfield Flea Market usually has a vendor there who sells old library furniture and card catalog cabinets." There you go, Corey. Corey's got the hookup on those card catalogs. Alex says, "Yay, baby." Congrats, thank you very much. Stephanie says, "Congratulations and welcome, Corbin." Corbin is my son. Gil says, "Third or fourth baby?" Second baby, and we're done. We are a 4-player team, and that is so 4 players, that's it. So, So, anyway, I thought it was interesting. I don't know how much of a correlation this has to what we do, but that you've got a popular brand that then brands out a thing with its, accessory. So, Grey's Anatomy is a popular television show. They branded out scrubs. I think that's a cool, neat thing. Yes, Corey, that was definitely one of the thoughts that was going through our heads. Corbin. But it's interesting to me that you would brand out scrubs when you're a fictional TV show about a hospital or something like that. So, all that being said, how do we use that in the board game industry? Well, I've thought about different things with like Stir Fry 18 since it tends to be our sort of catalog carrier right now. With Record, we've kind of done that. We're going to sell the picks on the side, the guitar picks themselves, most likely as just a side thing that you can pick up. And if you need 35 guitar picks for a reasonable price, it's probably not going to be a terrible deal. So, I had not intended this to be similar to the Grey's Anatomy marketing, but listen, if somebody's playing guitar picks that say Record on them and people don't, they start realizing like, oh, Record, what is this? Then eventually it just picks up more and more people start to brand recognize that, and they walk into a store that's got a copy of Record and they go, oh, well, look at that. I've seen that on the guitar picks. So it's another way to reach out to musicians. It's another way to brand out, and it's another way to sort of do something different. And I had not really realized that that's what we were doing, or that it was similar to this, but it is. I mean, they're using their popularity as a TV show to market a real world product based on something used in the show. We have a board game that uses a real-world product that guitarists can use to play the guitar. So it's, very similar, and I was very, very kind of taken aback when I realized that they'd done that and we'd inadvertently done something similar. So it's cool. Think about what you can do to put something in your game that's maybe real-world use that's also useful in the game. For Record, guitar picks are a major component of the game. You use them for your area control and placement and flip them over and stuff. So to have extra ones to use for replacements when people, eat one or don't eat them, by the way, or the dog chews one up or something like that, or one gets flicked into the fireplace. I don't know what happens, but you can go online and you can find a new set, and that was the intention. But then guitarists can use them, and there you go. There's another added benefit. Okay, so real quick, let me give you guys an image this week. I know you're all very, very, very ready to see this. So there you go. Here is Corbin Ryan Britt. This is his first ever business card. You'll see he is a human. When he was born, he was 9 pounds, 2 ounces. Yes, that's right. 9 pounds, 2 ounces. Huge. He is indifferent to pacifiers so far. Not a huge fan of them for the most part. He enjoys milk. Welcome to the family, our 4th player. So there you go. There's our baby boy. There's some pictures for you. I am going to let him relax I'm not going to bring him in my dirty office this week. I cleaned the entire house. Corbin, my man. Yes, that's it. Corbin. Absolutely. You guys, you totally get it. I love it. That's so perfect. So, let's see here. So 2 more. Catch up. Marshall, Britt. Rob, you win. You won. You won. We're done at 2. We're done at 4. That's it. We're finished. Finito. We are done. So Corey says, laughing out loud. Indeed. Gil, if you're not seen, you're not remembered. I agree. And Jennifer says, Corbin, my man. Y'all, thank you so much for joining me this week for a cup of coffee. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I am going to get some sleep this week. I am going to get some work done and get caught up. I have a ton of emails to send. Corey, do send me a message about that billiards game. I would be very interested to discuss that. Everyone else, thank you so much for joining me, and y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Make someone smile, do something happy, and make sure you go over to Jen Bartlet's page, boardgame.librarian on Instagram. Give her a follow and say, we love everything you're doing. We can't wait to see more board games in libraries. I think that would be an awesome thing to be able to do. So thank you guys so much again, and have a wonderful, wonderful, awesome week, and I'll see you soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.